Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for October 7th. How is everyone doing? My name is Erik, the man behind Etoft21sports, and my fucking computer is freezing. I apologize for the ever struggle battle that I have with Xfinity. We're here. My boy Reed is this week's guest. Him and I are going to look back at week 5, share our bets for week 6, and as always, Gino had his horse racing bet of the day. Before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, ProphetX. Guys, if you're not using ProphetX, go to the App Store, download the ProphetX app, use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know, oh, Uncle Rico sent you. Now, let's see what our boy Gino has a cooking for us with his horse racing bet of the day.
Wednesday's closing day at Kentucky Downs. I like Philly in here quite a bit. I have had this Philly on my watch list from last year. Destino Dioro. She ran twice last year in the Grade 2 Jessamine. She had one of the most brutal trips you could ever imagine.
So I don't know what's happening. I apologize. The video that Gino sent in is not playing, and an old one is playing. So I apologize for that. His horse racing bet was from Keelan. I'll make sure I post that to social media. Let's go ahead and welcome this week's special guest, Reed. Reed, great start to the fucking show. My computer's been freezing. Don't have the video from Gino, but hey, man, how's it going today, dude?
It's could be going better. Cubs have really just killed me the past couple of days, but it's going well otherwise.
But they made the playoffs. You know what I mean? You should be happy with that, dude.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, did you really think they're going to win it this year, though?
World Series, no, but I mean, I think they could be at least like competitive in the NLDS.
Okay,
I
fair
think
enough.
that'd be a fair request for them.
So let me ask you this: do you feel that it was actually Murph that was doing everything for the Brewers' success and not Counsell?
Starts to look that way. But yeah, he's a good manager. He's definitely got them rolling. So we'll see.
All right, so let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. We're here to talk a little NFL Week 5. We each have a takeaway. We each have a couple bets. Hopefully my internet doesn't freeze, but does, I apologize because it's been a battle today. Go ahead, jump right into it, my man. What's your takeaway from
Week 5? First takeaway from the weekend, and it's kind of just been building this whole year, and I'll get into it even more last year, but I think Baker Mayfield just needs to start being talked about, like we talk about Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes. He needs to start at least be entering those conversations. He's been absolutely elite this year. The Buccaneers have injuries all over their offense. I mean, they're just missing Evans, Irving. They're missing a guard. They're missing a tackle. They've got injuries everywhere, and they're still humming. They're the 4th-ranked offense in the league this year. And let me just throw out some Baker Mayfield stats since the start of 2024, and where he ranks among quarterbacks in the league. Passing touchdowns, 1st, tied with Lamar. Completion percentage, 3rd. Yards, 2nd. Passer rating, 106.2, 4th. This year, he's got 4 game-winning drives, and they're 4-1 with the 23rd ranked defense. He's had a different offensive coordinator all 3 years in Tampa, so it's not scheme dependent. And his head coach, Todd Bowles, is one that is historically not successful on offense. So he needs a playoff run, I think, and some signature playoff wins to really get put into that tier. But he's been on a tear the past year and a half, and I think I know he's getting a bunch of credit nationally, but I think it even should maybe go a step further. He's really been unbelievable, and it's not just dink and dunk. He's throwing absolute seeds down the field. I mean, some of the throws he was hitting to Ibuka were just unbelievable. So I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan, and I mean, I think if you have a ticket on him to win the MVP from before the season, I think he's the front runner right now. So
Chase Larson, my boy, Reed knows
appreciate
ball. Riley chimes in, agreed. C Spear is back. Not quite yet, my friend. Not quite yet. Couple more days, and then another year wiser for the big guy over here. My takeaway is this, dude. One of the best coaching jobs right now is done by a guy named Clayton Adams. And I cannot wait till he gets a chance to call his own plays or lands his head coaching job. I'm sure only a handful of people watching or listening know who he is. He's the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Before joining Dallas, Adams spent 2 seasons as the offensive line coach with the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals finished 4th in total rushing, 4th in yards rushing per game. Last season, they're top 10 in both categories. Now let's fast forward to this season. Adams is gone. The Cardinals have slipped to 12th in yards per rushing, almost 30 fewer yards per game than last season. And you can see it in their inability to run late in games and close out wins has been a real issue. Let's flip it to Dallas. Adams is now their offensive coordinator, overseeing the run game, and the results speak for themselves. The Cowboys are averaging 134 rushing yards per game, 8th in the league, up from just 100.3 last season, where they ranked 27th. They've gone from 22nd rushing DVOA last season to 1st this season under Adams. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, who were 9th in rushing DVOA last season with Adams, have plummeted all the way to 29th. Caden Adams is a game changer when it comes to building a run game. So that's a name we definitely need to remember, because if it's an offensive coordinator somewhere next season, he gets a head coaching job, wherever. This is a guy we need to remember, because honestly, for those people that drafted Javonte Williams in the 12th, 13th round, you have a stud running back right now, and someone that'll probably win you your fantasy football league if he doesn't get hurt. And if he has like a bell cow back, let's say hypothetically he had like a Kenneth Walker. You know what I mean? He's gonna read his. He is someone that put up could potentially win a rushing title. So yeah, I'm actually like this guy, Clayton Adams. I think he's in potential to be a head coach somewhere, and we need to monitor him for our bets and everything moving forward, my friend.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Cowboys' run game this year has been, surprisingly good. I think he's definitely part of it.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Understatement there, my friend.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. Let's jump right into it. Let's look at our bets. But before I get into our bets, we need to take a gander on how we did last week. Disappointing week last week. So I don't know what the hell is going on, but all these videos that I loaded are literally nowhere to be flipping found. I have no idea what is going on with StreamYard. Last week, we went 4-2. Bryce hit the Titans -2.5. Cards and Titans over 41.5. Chiefs -2.5. I hit Titans +8.5. Panthers +1.5. Lost the Jets +3. Overall, 18-12. Dude, where is all these videos going? Because I spent a good 20 minutes posting all this stuff, and now they're just completely gone, which is a little weird. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's talk some bets, my friend. What are you doing bet wise, my friend? Like where is your head at for your first bet?
Yeah. So first bet, we're going to the AFC North, and we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers -5.5. And hey, everyone jump in on this one because you get to be a part of history. This is the largest rest advantage I've ever seen in an NFL game. The Pittsburgh Steelers were on a bye last week and are sitting at home and have not played a football game in 14 days, while the Cleveland Browns just played a game in London or overseas and are coming back and now playing on the road at Pittsburgh. We've seen teams, normally they have a bye after London because of the travel. So you're getting Pittsburgh off a bye at home with Cleveland coming back from overseas, long travel, and having to go on the road to Pittsburgh. So in the history of the NFL, there's never been a team that's at home with a week of rest advantage playing a team coming back from overseas. So just wanted to get that out there as one reason for it. But I think another part of it is I wasn't overly impressed with Dylan Gabriel. I thought he was fine. He was serviceable, but he didn't really throw the ball down the field. He didn't, even attempt to pass over 20 yards. So, he was kind of just not great offense, not explosive. And so, I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to score enough where, Cleveland's not going to really do much on offense. And Cleveland's defense is definitely the strength of this team. Their defensive line's incredible. They have Myles Garrett. They drafted Mason Graham. Their linebacker, Schweisinger, that rookie linebacker is really good. So they have some really good players, but the strength of that team is a pass rush. And I think, Aaron Rodgers at this age, he's a lot of quick game, a lot of getting the ball out quick. And I think that can nullify the Cleveland pass rush. The Pittsburgh secondary has not been great. It's actually been abysmal this year. They're the third worst pass defense in the league. But as I kind of touched on it, I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to be the one that really exposes them and, feast on that. Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey are, big names, but they haven't performed this year. But I just don't think that Cleveland's going to be able to take advantage of them. And I think, Judkins is a really good player, but I think, and he's looked phenomenal, but I think Pittsburgh's going to be able to keep him in check. And I think, minus 5.5 at home was such a big rest advantage coming off a bye. And I think the offense kind of plays, they're not going to they're not going to score 40, but I think if you can get to 21, 24, you're going to be covering the 5.5 here.
Do you feel if Dylan Gabriel and Tua switch spots, you'd be able to tell the difference?
One of them probably slides more than the other, but otherwise, no.
I wasn't impressed with Dylan Gabriel at all. In my eyes, he's not an NFL quarterback at all. I think he is absolutely brutal. I will say this, though. I don't think they're as far off as people think. I think if they just get a quarterback, they're going to be serviceable with that defense. Offensive line has looked better. Judkins has been a freaking stud this since they brought him up from his off the field stuff. I think the Browns have something. It wouldn't surprise me if they keep Stefanski another year.
Yeah.
And then they get a quarterback at the top of the draft. What'd you think about Jersey Joe getting traded, my friend?
Cincinnati, I think, had to do something. And I think it's just Cleveland being like, if Gabriel's not working out, they're just going to throw Shador in there at some point. We'll see. I don't think he'll.
Time. I really think it's a matter of time before they throw Shador. You have to see what you got with Shador.
Yeah, you have to, especially. I mean, you just watch. You just watch the game, and you're like, God, this guy's small. I mean, that's the one thing that just stuck out.
You see the end of the game where they pictured him next to Carson Wentz. He is small as shit. I mean, it is insane how small he is. Guys, I am sorry. I loaded all these videos up. I have no idea where the flying hell they went. Like, I had everything loaded up, and I have no idea. So I apologize to everybody. I have no idea what is going on with StreamYard right now. Let's go ahead to my next bet. I'm going over the pond, and I hate myself. I am going back to the Jets. When you think about it, gambling is really about what? It comes down to buying low and selling high, and that's exactly what I'm doing here with the Jets. I'm taking them plus 7.5 against Denver. Here's the thing. Did you hear what the Broncos did after they beat the Eagles last week?
They flew right to London, did they not?
No, they popped champagne, were smoking in the locker room, and then
that's what you mean.
They drove through Philly on their buses, blaring Meek Mill.
I did not know that.
I feel they just won their Super Bowl.
It's
You know what I
possible.
mean? Like, I think this is a type of win where you see a team have a little bit of a letdown. Now, let's look at the winless Jets catching over a touchdown. What is history is showing us? This is a profitable spot. Winless teams are 61% over the last 7 seasons. When it is a single-digit dog, the number jumps to 64. So this is a spot, historically speaking, the trends say to back the Jets. From a matchup standpoint, the Jets actually fit this game well. They play slow. They're the third best rushing team in the league. They got a mobile quarterback. 2 things that the Van Joseph's defense historically has struggled with. Denver's offensive line is banged up. I don't think Bo Nix is the type of guy you trust to win with margin of this much in the NFL. Another side, Mason Taylor has emerged as a number 2 option in the passing game. And this defense historically has been vulnerable to the tight ends. Now, look, I know they're number 1 DVOA against the tight ends right now, but they haven't really played like a solid tight end yet. I'll use that term. Denver also ranks 31st in the league defending running backs in the passing game. This screams to me that Breece Hall is going to be heavily involved. We've seen him be involved in the passing game already. The Jets are the first 0-5 team not to have a turnover in the history of the league. They're obviously due for some positive turnover regression, and against Knicks, I could see this being the game. You combine the flat spot, the matchup, the trends, everything shows me value with the New York Football Jets, Jets, Jets. I'm going to do it. Chase chimes in. Jets 1-3 when playing abroad, although all of them, aside from one, are 1-score games. I'm riding this bet. Thank you, my friend.
All right.
Let's go ahead and go to Las Vegas, my friend.
Oh, boy. All right. So we have another -5.5 here. And you talked about a letdown spot. I think we have a possible one here. So just as an order of business, let me lay out the events that needed to occur for the Tennessee Titans to get their first win last week. So let's set the scene. It's 21-6 with 4:57 remaining in the third quarter. First off, a fumble hits Kyler Murray's face mask at the Titans' 20-yard line.
Love it.
That cost the Cardinals a field goal. Also, he gets hurt on the play, so their backup quarterback has to come in 3 and out next drive. On the next possession, DeMarcado goes 72 yards untouched for a touchdown, only to drop the ball at the 1-yard line. Fun fact, I lost a fantasy game by 5 points this week with DeMarcado as my starting running back. And yeah. Then the Titans move the ball down the field for their first touchdown in over 2 weeks. And then following that, they throw an interception in the red zone that is fumbled by the Cardinals, picked up by the Titans in the end zone, and then they go down on their next drive, kick game-winning field goal. A miraculous comeback. I've honestly never seen anything like it. It screams letdown spot after getting their first win. I think if you go back to last year, they only won 3 games, but in all 3 games, Brian Callahan as a coach went 0-3 against the spread after a win last year. So kind of showing, as a coach after a win, he's not great. As a coach, he's not great in general either. So I'm fine backing the Raiders here with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. They're not the best coaching duo ever, but I think they're better than what Brian Callahan's putting out there. I think another thing here is that the Raiders, listen, Gino Smith has been atrocious this year, and he's turning the ball over at a rate that's unbelievable. But if they're able to run the ball, which they were able to against the Bears, which was a bad defensive front, the Titans also have a bad defensive front, 3rd worst rushing defense in football. I think they can get Genty going. They're not going to need to rely on Geno Smith throwing the ball. I think they can get stuff going here. I know Cam Ward has maybe shown a couple flashes, but I think the way he plays doesn't really go great with the Raiders' pass rush. The Raiders also just got beat 40-6 by the Colts. I think they're going to be a little more focused and locked in for this game than the Titans. I don't know the exact percentage, but I do know that teams that lose by 30+ the next week are a historical trend to back. And so Vegas at home. I also, lastly, they're at home. Normally, the Raiders at home, you got to pay a little bit of a tax because the other team's fans are going to travel. I don't think the Tennessee Titans fans have a band.
Fans travel.
I don't think there's a caravan out to Las Vegas. I think they're fine on Broadway in Nashville. So I got the Raiders -5.5 here. I think they bounce back. They're locked in for this. I think they're pissed off. They lost 40-6. and that the Titans just probably still are in shock that they won the last game.
Riley chimes in. Let's go Broncos. It's kind of funny. You mentioned all that stuff that needed to go wrong. All that stuff needed to go wrong. And it was brutal, man. Like, the Cardinals just don't know how to win. You know what I mean?
No.
They literally just at all don't know how to win at all. So I agree with you 100%, man. I mean, I think that the Titans are going to come out insanely flat. They're probably partying all week, and Max Crosby is going to be living in that backfield. So I like this one.
Yeah, the worst team in the league is the Arizona Cardinals in the second half against winless opponents. Because do you remember when they played Carolina earlier this year and they almost let up 21 in the fourth to blow that game?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like that's a trend with Arizona, like just letting foot off the gas.
And it's because they don't know how to win. It's because they don't have our boy Adams back there.
No, to run clock
with the run game. My next bet, you know what? I was going to save this one to my last one, but I'll do it right here to piggyback you. I played Aston Genty over 72.5 yards rushing. You have to attack this Titans team on the ground. That's the weakness. Titans ranked 31st in DVOA against the run, allowing 146.8 rushing yards per game. Let's look at the recent results. Last week, Carter and your boy DeMarco combined for 132 yards, averaging 6.3 per carry. The week before, Marks and Chubbs combined for 116, 3.9 a clip. Before that, Jonathan Taylor went for 102, 6 yards per carry. This front is getting slashed. They have allowed 88 runs of over 10 yards or more this season. Individually, the defensive line grades tell the story. Simmons, 51 out of 118 defensive linemen against the run. Tuttle is 74th. Joseph Jai sits at 52nd. That's not good. Sweat, who's their best run stopper, he is out. So it's just a great matchup when you look at the Raiders front against the Titans front. Now, Gentry did start off the season a bit slow, but he's found his rhythm, averaging 4.3 yards per carry, about 70 rushing yards per game on the year. Over the last 2 games, though, he's really taken off. 102.5 yards per game, almost 6 yards per carry. And honestly, those numbers could have been even better if the Colts game hadn't turned into a blowout, so the Raiders weren't forced to go to the pass game a little bit early. This week, the Graham strip should work perfectly in his favor. With Brock Bowers not 100%, uncertain if he plays, and Gino Smith struggling to sustain drives, I expect they're going to lean on Gentry a lot. Give me Ashton Genty over 72.5 yards rushing, my friend. Next one, my friend, where are you off to?
We're off to Indianapolis, but we're picking a team that we just spent trashing. So initially, I must admit, I wanted to take the Colts here, thinking the Cardinals come out a little flat. But the more I thought about it, they've lost the last 3 games on a last-second field goal.
Yeah.
All 3 of the games they lost is on a last-second field goal. So, they probably feel they're a little closer than 2 and 3 suggests. And whether that's accurate or not, that's what I think, probably Arizona's feeling. I looked into some, stats that Kyler Murray all time against the spread as an underdog is 64%. Kyler Murray with Jonathan Gannon as his head coach against the spread on the road is 71.4%. Jonathan Gannon as a head coach against the spread as an underdog is 60.7%. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, is a favorite, 47%. So I'm starting to think about it. Arizona's probably going to sell out this game. I think they need this game to keep their season alive. I mean, once you fall to 2 and 4, you start really falling back in the division, especially with Seattle and Los Angeles and San Francisco. I mean, 3 just solid teams. So, I mean, this is almost probably going to be the Cardinals sellout game, it feels like. I think the Colts offense is predicated on the run, despite being 4th in passing. If Taylor doesn't get set up, I don't think Jones is going to be able to exploit the Cardinals secondary, as much as he has the other teams recently. And, the Colts schedule does leave a lot to be desired, I will say. Dolphins, Titans, and Raiders are, some bad teams. Not that the Cardinals were able to beat the Titans, but they have a combined 3 wins. I think, the Broncos at home, the Colts couldn't stop the Broncos offense. The Rams game, they really struggled defensively there. I think Arizona is really going to sell out, and they probably won't win, but I think they're going to be able to keep this close. Historically, Murray's great on the road and as a dog. So I think, Arizona probably comes out, and they're one of those teams that, when you don't expect anything from them, they show up, and when you do expect something from them, they probably don't show up. So I think this is a buy low spot on Arizona and a sell high on Indianapolis. And if you can get the 6.5, I think that's a lot of points to lay with Daniel Jones. So yeah, I think Arizona, it's kind of a plug your nose and just take it because it stinks out loud. But I think Arizona, as a last ditch effort to save their season, hangs around at the very least.
I'm looking at it right now. Kyler Murray, 33, 17, and 2 ATS as a dog. When he is a road dog, it bumps up to an absurd 22, 6, and 2.
Yep.
That is absurd. Let's see what he's at. Let's see line-wise what he's doing working with here. Let's see when it's at 3.5 or more. 3.5 or more, 19 and 8 and 2. So yeah, I think I'm going to be on Arizona here. I may even sprinkle a little bit on the money line. I love this Colts team. I have them in the playoffs.
They're awesome.
Win the South. But you're right. I think this is a little too much margin. This is the spot when you look to back the cards coming off this game. No one's going to be rushing to bet it. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me being at a 7 if you guys wanted to.
Yeah, I'd wait till 5 minutes to kick off because I just think people are going to be all over Indianapolis.
Next one, and I'm getting grimy with this one. You ready for this one? I'm going down to the dirty. Give me the New Orleans Saints plus 3.5. Now, the public's going to be all over the Patriots this week. They're coming up an upset win over the Bills, and everyone's subtly talking Drake May is an MVP candidate. People are saying that New England might be the best team in the AFC. They're going to win the AFC East. And that's exactly when you look to sell high, because if you look a little deeper into the Bills game, the Patriots shouldn't have won that. Buffalo had more total yards, more rushing yards, more passing yards. They averaged 7.7 yards per play. Totally dominated this statistically. But what happened? Turnovers. Turnover after turnover after turnover. Now they're traveling on a short week, traveling down to New Orleans. That's not an easy place to play. Super Bowl gets loud. That's what matters, especially against a young quarterback. Vrabel as a favorite. We go over it all the time. 44.7% ATS. Road favorite of 3.5 points or more drops down to 33. Saints defense actually has been playing better than people realize. They're top 10 in EPA at home, and they're generating pressure at a 9.2% sack rate. And that's going to be a really problem for this Patriots offensive line that's still giving up pressure at a high rate. On the flip side, Taysom Hill is back. That opens up the offense a little bit more for the Saints. Last week was his first game back. I think we're going to see him being featured a little bit more in the passing game. And believe it or not, Spencer Rattler is actually playing good football. That's something I never thought I would say. 6 TD to 1 INT ratio. He's starting to look comfortable. The Patriots defense, 27th in DVOA. They struggle to get stops. I think Rattler can find success on them. And the matchups align well for New Orleans. The Saints are number 1 DVOA against opposing wide receivers, which means Stephon Diggs' production could be limited, and this really hurts the Patriots' offense. Meanwhile, the Patriots ranked 19th in defending tight ends. This sets up well for my boy Juwan Johnson, and 26th defending the running back in passing games, which screams, I think Alvin Kamara is going to be a factor in the passing game finally for the Saints. So between the matchups in the trenches, the travel spot, the inflated perception of the New England Patriots after the Bills win, look, I'm going to do it. Give me the New Orleans Saints plus 3.5. So there you have it. Let's just shoot over our bets really quick. Reed took the Steelers minus 5.5, the Raiders minus 5.5, and the Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5. I'm sitting on the Jets plus 7.5. Aston Genty over 72.5 yards receiving, and the New Orleans Saints plus 3.5. Reed, before I let you get out of here, you came on my show and we previewed the NFC North. NFC North. Looking at it right now.
Yeah.
What's sticking out to you, man? Is it playing out?
Yeah, I think what's sticking out to me is that, I think we kind of talked about Detroit week 1 against Green Bay, that being a really tough spot for them. And I think that was. But I think do they have an upgrade at defensive coordinator? It feels like. Do they have the offense is humming as well. I think Detroit looks really good. It seems like they seemingly or seamlessly replaced their 2 coordinators. They're back to humming again. So, I think Detroit, there was maybe a little question after week 1, but they look really good. I think Green Bay, I think the first 2 weeks, they looked phenomenal. And then I think people were maybe jumping the gun slightly with them. I think they're a great team, definitely. But, tying the Cowboys is, I don't know. That's interesting. But obviously, the Cowboys offense is good. So I kind of get it. But I don't know. I think Green Bay is good. And then, I think Minnesota, we'll see what they can do when McCarthy comes back. I think Wentz is actually kind of giving them some decent play over in London or overseas. So, yeah. And then, my Bears, they're fine. They're a work in progress. I think the offense is fine. It's trending up. The defense is atrocious. They're, if they don't get turnovers, they're going to let up 30 each week. That's kind of how I feel. But I think Detroit runs it back again this year. I think when they get Green Bay at home, they'll even out that tiebreaker. And I think Detroit won't have any problems with Minnesota or Chicago the rest of the year.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think their defensive coordinator is a lot better. I think that's a big step up. A lot more animated on the sideline, doing a lot more changes in coverage, bringing pressure a little bit more than Aaron Glenn did. My biggest fear was offensive coordinator Morton. Never called plays before. He is letting was going to let Goff do stuff at the line. I think he's kind of figuring out you can't do that, and he's not doing that as much. And I will say this: his creativity is there. That was a worry point for me. When we see what's going on with the Philadelphia Eagles and how limited their offensive looks, their offensive coordinator isn't showing any creativity.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at what Morton is able to do, first-time play designer, first-time play caller in Detroit. He ran that play he did against the Ravens where Goff pitched it to St. Brown, and then St. Brown pitched that to, I believe, Montgomery or whatever. That was an insane design. They're clicking, and that's, as a Detroit fan, I'm rocking the Lions tee right now. That is great to see.
Before the year, if you said Philly is not going to be able to replace their offensive coordinator and Detroit will seamlessly, a lot of people would have looked at you sideways.
Yeah, and I think the tie hurts the Packers more than it hurts. I think the tie actually helps the Cowboys.
The Cowboys won that tie.
And I think the tie hurts the Packers, if that makes sense. Vikings, I'm still not a believer, dude. You know what I mean? My whole thing is I have no idea. People kiss O'Connell's ass 24/7, 365. And sometimes he just doesn't go ahead and take advantage of the basic safe matchup like he should, which really pisses me off. Bears, your defense, you're without your 2 best DBs.
Yeah.
I don't trust your offensive line. And it's been smoke and mirrors. Like, theoretically, you guys should have lost the Raiders. That game was the biggest bluff job in the fucking world. You guys had no fucking business. Raiders dominated that game. But
the first half.
No. Okay, dude, did you see expected win percentage?
What? Yeah.
Dude, it was insane. It was like the biggest one over the last 5 years. What was it? 5 turnovers in your own end, and you needed a block, and they had a field goal to win the game. There's no, dude, The Raiders dominated that game.
Yeah.
And then who'd you guys played after that?
Bye. So we're
No.
2-2.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
That was
yeah,
our last game. Well, my thing with the Bears that I've come to the conclusion.
And you can't stop the run. And you can't stop the run.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I'm more disgusted that they lost to Minnesota and McCarthy than I am that they lost to Detroit by 30.
To me, that was funny because McCarthy had no business winning NFC Player of the Year, Player of the Week, or whatever BS award that he won. That was a complete and utter joke that he won that award. So,
well, yeah,
I don't know. Like, dude, he did nothing.
No,
he played one good quarter, and they gave him that award. That was just brutal, man. He had no business winning that.
We lose him. All right. Well, seems like Erik's gone. So do I have to end this show?